Good evening, everybody. We're gonna do this. Tonight's December 12th, 2022. So here's what we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to deal with the election of our 2023 officers. Then we're going to go over what we've done this year and what we're going to work on doing in 2023. And then we'll have some questions. If you have any questions, we'll work on those. So here are the candidates for 2023 officers: myself, Perot, Matthew, Steve, and Walt. And what we're basically looking for is a somebody who would like to make a motion to approve. We're doing it by acclamation because we don't have any opposition. So if someone would like to make a motion to approve our slate of officers, maybe Ron or Jen.
Yeah, so moved.
Okay, and a second?
I second it. I second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
Malcolm.
Hearing none. Hearing none.
Now, Walt.
We have now elected our officers for the coming year. So thank you. All right, let's get back to business. Okay. Let's talk about what we did this year. All right. This is kind of a fun part in my mind. One of the things that we did starting January 19th, and I think it's worked really well, is we've had our coffee and a radio sessions. We're going to have one this Thursday, hopefully at 9:30 again at Starbucks. Hopefully a lot of you will be able to get there. But that's worked out really well. We kind of averaged eight members per session. We've had as many as 12, and about a third of the members have actually made it, which is kind of nice. So that's kind of good. So we appreciate that. So what else have we done? One of the things that I did is I set up a MailChimp account, basically to handle our mailing list. When I took over, we had a group of names here, a group of names there. It was hard to put them all together, make sure that we didn't miss anybody. So I put them into a MailChimp account. Doesn't cost us anything until we get up to, I think it's either 200 or 500 members, but basically it doesn't cost us anything. And I think it works pretty well. I can tell who we've mailed to and who I need to remail to. And you can see what that's the part of the dashboard that I see. So that was one of the things we did this year. I redid the website so that the old website that I had also done didn't work on iPhones and didn't work on it didn't work on tablets. So I basically used something called the W3 standards, CSS standards, to redo the website. And I think it works pretty well enough. There are more things that need to be done to it, but it works. Another thing I did was that we record these meetings as we are right now. And we now have a San Bruno Amateur Club, Radio Club YouTube channel. And these are the current videos that we have up there. The best one we did was that when we had the web SDR folks come, and we have had almost 300 views on that. When we had Steve Wilson talk about NVIS antennas, we're over 100 views on that. There, of course, is one with Ron in the middle of it, down in the lower one, the May 9th. That's probably only got 5 views. I guess I'll have to get a better model in the picture to get more views. But it's worked out. We have everything we basically doing is transparent and up there. So that was one of the things we've done. What else do we do? We participated in San Bruno's Community Day on June 5th, which was a couple of weeks before Field Day, which was kind of nice, and gave us a chance to do a little publicity on that and be part of the community. So, you know, we did that. And then we had Field Day. which was, I think, the first time we've done it in over 10 years. Walt can probably tell me that it's a little bit longer than that, but 10 years is a long time anyway. So that worked out really nice. We were by the library. I have to admit that we didn't do a particularly good job in making contacts, and we had something we would want to try again. Steve and I probably both agree that we're going to have to figure out how to make a few more contacts than we did, and I think that can be done. But it wasn't a high traffic area, unfortunately, and now we need to work on probably a little better location. And we basically, knowing that it's in June, we probably will have to start working on that after the first of the year. But for what we did, it was a nice little get together, and it was showed a little visibility, and that was kind of nice. So that's what we did there. Janet was, I think Janet, well, you probably had a cold that day because, or something, because I remember you made some contacts for us with folks who stopped by the booth, which was nice.
Yes.
And appreciated that. So let's see what else we did. Well, probably the main thing we did was starting back in the spring. We started to go for this 501c3, which we are now. After fooling around, and Matthew is well aware of some of the issues I had with the California Secretary of State's office, where they kind of screwed around with me a little bit, is because I used the wrong form. I couldn't figure out the right form on their website. You don't actually fill out a form, you fill out something, and then they put it into a form. Unfortunately, it was the wrong form. So we finally got that straightened out after they corrected my grammar and corrected the, how much space I had on the page and all kinds of other bureaucratic nonsense. We finally got it figured out, and we were able to send that in and get it approved by the IRS on August 22nd of this year, which was really nice. So we're now officially a 501c3 organization, which has led to some good things. So one of those things is now we were actually able to open a bank account. We now have a bank account with the San Mateo County Credit Union. Before we were 501c3, we probably would have had to have at least 1,000 or maybe 5,000 at Bank of America to have a free checking account. When we became a 501c3, we were able to get a free account through the credit union. Steve and Matthew and I went down there and we opened that account, and we've got that going, which is really, really handy. It takes care of us. So that was one of the things that the 501c3 allowed us to do. Another thing it allowed us to do was to open up an account with PayPal so that we can accept donations in a pretty seamless manner that a lot of folks are familiar with. Up until last week, we had brought in $370, which was an average donation of $46.25, which was kind of nice. And we've even had a couple more donations. Ron was good enough to make a donation this week, and I say thank you again to Ron and all of you who've done that. So that was one of the things that was made possible by being a 501c3. One, we can solicit donations, and we also get a lower rate through PayPal because we are a 501c3. Next, which brings us to this. Because we're a 501c3, we were able to apply to the San Bruno Community Foundation for a grant. Last week, they okayed our grant of $9,500, which is going to be spent in the following way. We're going to work on upgrading the equipment in the San Bruno City Emergency Operations Center. The radios, we're going to bring in some capabilities that they currently don't have, such as WinLink and an Arden. We're going to do some Arden mesh installations around town on the outside. And we're going to put together a NVIS Go Box setup, which we can train on and we can use in the field. There's a list in here for cache of expendable radios. As I explained to somebody else the other day, the original idea was to get a whole bunch of Baofeng radios for cheap. But I'm not happy with Baofengs. I don't want to support Chinese. But the idea of the whole idea that you can get 20 radios for $500 is really very appealing. I know, Janet, you're shaking your head and I agree with you. But I think what will happen is we probably won't use the money that way. We'll probably ask permission to change that a little bit. Either we'll get just a handful of Yaesu basic radios, or we'll use it where we come up short on the other numbers. One of the things that we issued is the supply chain and increasing costs to do the electronics that I estimated when I put in the grant proposal at the end of August. Basically, I had 1 week between the time that the IRS said that we were nonprofit to the deadline. So I basically put it together in a week. But we scored it. They had folks asked for $700,000 in grants, and they only awarded $300,000. So we were fortunate to get part of that, and we'll see how we can do. But we have the cooperation of the fire department and the chief, which has been very helpful. So that's something that in the new year we'll be working to implement. And we'll do it in a way that hopefully is responsible enough that if we make another grant proposal for something else next year, that they'll look kindly on what we're doing. We also sponsored a ham cram in September 2022. Ron Ruggles and Ian Brown both upgraded their licenses, and Greg Burns became a new ham, all members of our club, which was kind of nice. One of the things we want to work on is improving that a little bit. We continue to have our weekly nets. Perot has kind of, I think, effectively taken over. I don't see him in the panel right now, but he's effectively taken over being in charge of our nets, which is good, because that means that Janet won't freeze her butt outside anymore in the rain as often, unless she wants to. And we're trying to get some more folks to participate in that. It's not hard. It's fairly easy. It's a good practice skill. And it's something that I think, we'll try to improve upon. But anyway, the other thing we did is we transitioned from the TOW repeater to City Hall repeater. And I think that has been just fine. We haven't really lost any of our members. We have lost some folks who are out of the area, but I'm not losing sleep over that because we all know where TOW is. If we want to connect to it, we can. So that worked out pretty well. But most importantly to me is we grew our membership. We went from 31 members to 55. We added 24 new members this year. And these are some of the faces, some of the folks who are members of the group now. Schedules are such that we don't always see them. I'd like to come up with more things for them to participate in so that we can see them. There is a little bit of an ongoing discussion about whether or not we have people, who we should have membership dues, or if we should keep it on a donation basis, which we'll get to in a second. But the good news is we almost doubled our group, and that's kind of nice. So hopefully we can get them to participate. So here's some things that I think if Dave had a wish list, this would be my Christmas wish list for next year. Continue to grow the membership, encourage members to upgrade their licenses, increase the number of VEs in the club, bring license testing and education in-house, do more hands-on training with our radios in the field, support the city's CERT program as needed. The CERT probably will be offered in March. And I'd like to see as many members as we have who would be interested and participate in that. And otherwise, I'd like to support the CERT program by helping Ari and his department with explaining how radio and ham amateur service integrates with CERT. So we'll work on that too. Work on a new grant for submission in August 2023. Maybe do something different. Work with community groups where we can and improve on everything we do. So those are the basic ideas that I have in mind. One of the reasons I want to see folks increase their licenses is because right now, one of the discussions we got into with the chief was that he wants to have his CERT program, and he wants to have in-person testing and see if we can convert as many of the CERT folks as we can into members of the ham community. And I'd like to be able to do that in-house. I'll say generally, I wasn't impressed with the people who came in and helped us do the testing and the ham cram. There were some things that were bothersome to me, and I'd rather see us do it. I know that we have a few folks already who are VEs. I did it this year. Ron Ruggles has done it. Ted is a VE. I believe that Pro is on the path now that he's an extra to do that. We need some folks. And if you're a general, I'm going to suggest, even if you just have a general license, that you consider becoming a VE, because that means that you can at least give a tech test and sign off on that. If you're an advanced or an extra, you can sign off on a general. The only way we can sign off on new extras is with a complement of at least 3 extras who are VEs. And we're getting a little better on that, but that's one of the things I'd like to do. I'd like to see us do that and take it from there. So that's basically the rundown of what I think we did this year and what I think we want to work towards next year. It's ambitious. I think we can do it. Janet, please.
Yeah, as far as the new CERT class starts on March 8th.
Correct.
It will be held in the EOC as far as I know.
Correct.
And Steve, YUA, and myself in years past always went to the CERT classes, one of the CERT classes, and gave a talk. Steve did most of it. He's a better public speaker than I am. And we did a little talk on the advantages of ham radio and hopefully getting the CERT people involved in it. And many of the CERT members are also hams already, which is good. But so I'm talking to Ari about getting our club back in there again and giving a little spiel. 10, 15 minutes is about the most.
Yeah, that's a very good idea. But I know that Ari wants to couple the his CERT program with at the end of it to see if we can do a ham cram and then produce more amateur radio operators. He suggested that I go and talk to the people in La Honda who are doing this, and I'm going to probably try to do that after I come back. So there's stuff to be done, and I think I think we can accomplish it. Any other questions? Okay.
Oh yeah. Does anybody? The CERT program has changed since I took it, and I think most of us took it. Anybody know how to find out what the new curriculum is of the new CERT classes put out by FEMA? Walt?
Try FEMA's website. You can download a lot of the information.
Okay, thanks. I will.
And
I would say that probably makes the most sense, is just checking the CERT class. I am also sure that Ari probably can tell you what, what he's learned or the curriculum that they're putting together to teach. So between those two sources, between the chief and FEMA, I think you can probably find out.
Yeah. And I've already enrolled in the March 8th class, or what starts on March 8th.
Oh, okay. Did you have to, did you do that the other night?
Yeah, I asked Gage and Ari if I could, and they both said yes. So
Good, good.
Dave,
Yes.
when
yes, Mark.
does the grant money come in?
Well, okay, so they've sent me a letter and I responded to it. Basically, they want to make a presentation to us. I guess they want a grip and grin, as I would have called it in my newspaper days, where they hand us a check, we all shake hands and smile. They want to do it in front. Yeah, I know. They want to do it in front of the group. I suggested to them that we do it in February or in March. They've got, I guess, 22 groups are going to make these presentations to. But
So one
they
of
haven't
the
responded
things,
to me.
so one of the things you want to add to your list is when we get the check, sometimes in getting future grants, they look at how well you spent the previous grants. So you probably want to add to your priorities of doing a properly accounted expenditure of the current year's grant.
Right. And I totally agree with you. That's gonna be one thing that's really important, is that we take care of our financials, which leads me to my friend Steve, if his voice will hold out. Unfortunately, Steve has been fighting a really nasty cold. I think roughly since our last coffee get together. Is that right, Steve?
Yeah,
Yeah.
actually, it's been walking pneumonia.
Yeah, walking pneumonia. And so if he can give us a quick report as to where we stand with our bank account would be kind of nice.
Well, the November statement from Cemetery Credit Union lists our account as $1,163.69. I haven't looked at the account today or the last couple days to see if the PayPal money is making it incorrectly. But we should have, because of the ARRL applications, we should have $45 coming in from them. Once everybody gets approved and they finally get around to sending us a check. And we should have another 451 coming in from the fire department, that the money they're holding for us.
So let's talk about that for a second, because that may not happen.
Oh, okay.
So let me tell you about that. Okay. Walt knows this one pretty well. That's what, Walt, I tried to call you the other day. That's what it was about. Walt will tell you that the fire department has been holding on, and I actually saw it last week, has been holding on to $451 that was given to them by the state of California when a Downey savings account was closed. That was Downey, let's see, they were holding it for, the San Bruno Disaster Radio, or the Civil Defense Radio Club. And I guess they dissolved, and Downey turned the money over to the state, and somehow, and I don't know exactly the mechanism, but the state turned it over to the city, to the fire department. I have a copy of the check that the city got. They eventually cashed it, and it ended up as cash in the fire marshal's desk drawer. Okay, so we've been talking about this for a while with the fire department, and I thought we kind of had it straightened out. I was trying to get it done before the end of the year, and I talked to the fire marshal. And I said, well, I'll tell you what we do. Let's write, you can't see this, but whoops. Trust me. I wrote a donation letter that for $451, which I was going to give the fire department and thank them for holding on to the money, and hopefully we were going to deposit it. Well, the fire chief decided to talk to the city attorney. And the city attorney apparently decided that maybe that wasn't the right path. So he was going to talk to the finance department this week. And I kind of think we won't get it, because it now, I mean, you have to understand that City Hall hasn't really known about this for 12 years. Okay. But I think, and I don't blame Ari, I think he was afraid that someone was going to call him on it if he's just passed it to us without going through the mechanism. And he probably did this to cover himself. And I totally understand why he did that. I wish he hadn't, but I think that's what happened. So I don't think we're going to see the 451. Hang on, Walt, just a second. So I actually threw out another offer, because Gage, the fire marshal, made a comment. He says, this money should be used for something hardware important. Because I said, well, we have a lot of things we're going to do. We need to pay insurance, whatever. And he still came back with, well, they kind of want to do something with it, something important. So I went back. I've sent a note to Ari suggesting, this is kind of comes out of a discussion that we had with the Yesu representative at Pacificon. And I suggested that maybe we use the money to buy another repeater and place it at Skyline, because there are a lot of, half the city cannot hear that repeater. Okay. I see somebody over here is agreeing with that.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that can't receive the TOD.
Right. Yeah, I get it.
Okay.
So my thought was, we talked to the Yesu guy, and he said we can tie those two repeaters together in two different locations. And that sounds pretty good. Now, the start of the year, Yesu has been coming up with this deal where you can buy a repeater, the newest model of the repeater, for half price. And the Yesu rep said, well, they're not currently doing it, but they always will do it. So that, I think, would come out to $600 or $700, and they've got 451. One of the things that happened at the board meeting for the San Bruno Community Foundation was they have two outside representatives. $100,000 of the money they gave out comes directly from Google. And so I now know who the person is at Google who's responsible for allowing things to happen on their site. A gentleman by the name of Drew Sherwood. And the other person who's on the foundation board is the president of Skyline College. And I said that during my little quick, no, did anybody watch that? Matthew, did you make it? No. Yeah, okay. Anyway, I point out that I really liked meeting them because they represent some high locations, and maybe it'd be nice to put some antennas on top of Skyline College. And I'm thinking that might be a good place to put a repeater. And it would take care of people like Mike, and yeah, Mike would like that. And for instance, Jenny Williams, who lives north of Sharp Park Road, along with Ron, not Ron, what am I thinking? Lapettis, thank you. Could benefit from that. Plus a whole bunch of people. I mean, Malcolm could benefit from that. There are a lot of people on that side of the road who can benefit from that. So I haven't heard back from the chief. He doesn't always read his email, but I figure that probably after the first year, we'll find out what happens. But the 451 is not a done deal, unfortunately. Walt, now you had something you wanted to throw in there.
Two things now.
Okay.
One of the places we considered for the original repeater was the Lake Street water tower or water tank.
Where's that?
Lake Street, at the end of Lake Street.
Okay.
You need
Where's
to
that?
take a look. It's up towards
Is
It's
is
in
that
the,
above the church school or the Church of Highlands?
the Highlands. It's up in the Highlands.
Okay, all right.
So if Malcolm can't make that one, he's not trying hard enough.
Yeah, but I'm not sure about the people on the other side of Shark Park Road either.
Yeah, I don't know about that. And since Seacliff Drive goes down the gully, I don't know if there's going to be any really good help for them, except for a very
Skyline
tall.
might be the part that helps them.
Yeah.
So anyway, continue.
The other thing is on the $451. I'll send you an email about the history of that as far as I know it. So that way you can make an argument that is our money. But
I mean, it certainly should be, but
we had a couple of club members who were in charge of the money who were in dereliction of duty and failed to claim it in a timely manner. And then there was a police officer who was a ham, and I only know the name Kevin, who was able to retrieve the money, for the radio club / city. And that's where it eventually ended up. And it was kind of promised to Cliff to make up for all the donuts and soft drinks he bought for the club over a couple of years and never got reimbursed by the city for it.
Cliff who?
Biggs.
And he was?
I'm assuming he was club president at the time he
Okay,
disappeared
all right.
and left everything in my lap. And
Okay.
I made the wrong decision, not just to turn out the lights and walk away. So
Yeah, well, I might be making the same one. Janet, please.
Yeah, I have a couple of things. First of all, Skyline would be a great idea. I know exactly the perfect spot at Skyline College to put that repeater. It would be on the roof of the Farallon room. I don't know if any of you been there. All the city committees had their appreciation day there at the end of November. And you can look out and see Pacifica and the whole Pacific Ocean.
Right.
It would be perfect, and it would get anybody on the other side of Sharp Park. It's perfect.
I don't know. I mean, the last time I went up there and did some radio testing one day, and I certainly know the spot you're talking about. I know that they have their little police department up there because I saw the cars parked, and I'm assuming that they have radios in that neighborhood. I think ideally we're looking for a place that probably has a radio rack somewhere that if we actually did it, we could put the repeater on the rack with their stuff, which would be
Well,
ideal.
Now, I'm thinking of elevation, which not
No,
a
I know
lot of
that.
junk
I understand
around
that.
it,
But
which
to see
the
the
Farallon room
elevation's
does
a good
qualify
thing and a
for.
bad thing. Elevation is good and bad. And the bad
Yes.
side is the fact that we try to coordinate with other users on that frequency. And we're really lucky with the city hall because it's only like 50 feet above the ground. And so, we don't particularly bump into some of the other users. But, where there's a will, there's a way probably. Walt?
I was going to say, you're going to have to do something about getting a different frequency pair or something like that, because Los Gatos is straight down Skyline Boulevard. So you can definitely have an interference there.
Yeah.
And you're going to go over the hill to Lafayette and Orinda. And of course, there's other one up on Mount Vaca. We're just going to have nothing but interferences with the current pair.
But like Mount Vaca, I don't think it's coordinated.
What was that?
I don't think Mount Vaca is coordinated.
No, neither is Orinda, at least last time I checked. But,
Yeah, so part of me says tough, but we'll see.
yeah.
Janet?
Yeah, the second thing I was going to mention is that in your list of president, vice president, treasurer so far, you should add also the trustee. The club has a trustee. So you should
Well,
add that.
That's a
person
good point.
too.
We should,
Trustee of the club license.
yeah, for the club, the keeper of the club life.
You know who that person is?
Yes, Janet, I know it's you.
Okay, just wanted to make sure you knew.
I know it's you, sweets. I know.
I know Walt knows.
Yeah, I know. And I've looked up, I've seen your name on it.
Okay.
Yeah, no, you're right. But I think
Actually, not that I do anything, but what I do is I resubmit the club call sign when before it expires. That
Right.
was my big job.
right. No, and that's a very important job. I don't, do that. Any other questions?
I was gonna say in future years, there may be a fee attached to that. I think last
Probably will
time.
be, but now at least we have some resources to do it. Like, Steve is gonna write a check probably tonight or tomorrow or something, and he's probably gonna bring it, attaboy, and he's probably gonna bring it if he comes, and hopefully he does, on Thursday. And we'll pick up either another signature from me or from Matthew, and we'll put an envelope and we'll send it to those nice people to who handle the coordination for the repeater. Yes, Janet.
Yeah, one more thing. The FCC at a year or two, maybe 2 years ago, had decided to charge an arm and a leg for all kinds of stuff about renewing licenses.
Yep.
Finally, the FCC, the dipstick that was in there, finally retired when the administration changed. And I think they lowered that a bit. I wonder if there's any chance of them completely dropping all of that, or are they just
No.
trying to make money?
No, because Congress passed a law that said that every department has to be able to recover the costs of them doing business. And it used to be that the hams got away with it because, quote, we help out. But
Well,
then
we
they
do.
said, Janet, believe me, I saw all the campaign. That's what took it from being 50 to 35. Okay. And, but they wouldn't budge on doing away with it. So Congress did it. If you don't like it, talk to your congressman, because they're the ones that ultimately said, nah, we don't want to exempt them. Okay. So that's where that stands. All right. Any other comments or questions? Good. Let me ask a couple of questions. Perot, I think you're our de facto net guru these days. And it goes with the fact that you're fully qualified now that you're an extra, which I, again, applaud, okay? You'll regret that later, but anyway. Now, I see that, the nets would be Monday, okay? And then Christmas is on a Sunday, so are you guys gonna want a net on Boxing Day? Oh, okay. All right. Go dark on Boxing Day. Okay. How about, now I don't know, is January 2nd, is that a federal holiday? That's the Monday. Because see, New Year's falls on a Sunday, so often they'll make the Monday a holiday. So the question is, are you going to have a net on that night? I'm not going to be here. This is,
I'm looking in my pocket calendar. It does not say that the 2nd is a
a
national
federal
holiday.
holiday. It may not be.
My
marked on that.
cell phone says the 2nd is a New Year's Day substitute. In other words,
That's
make
what I
it
was
a
thinking.
holiday.
Okay.
Okay, so I would say you should skip the 2nd unless you want to just do that. And then there'll be the next week should be the club meeting. I originally was going to suggest that we go to the 16th when I will be back. But as Walt rightfully pointed out, the 16th is a national holiday. It's MLK Day. So that means we'd kick it down to the 4th Monday. I don't think we do that. So I have empowered Steve to be the guest host that night because he has, I believe, an account which we may have screwed up by me making him a. Oh, there's Tom.
Now, which date are you talking about? The 9th of January for the Zoom meeting?
That would be the second. Hi,
That's
Tom.
right.
That'd be the second Monday of the month. So I don't think, I think you should have, my suggested topic would be shootout between those people who think we should have Balfangs and those people who think we should have other radios, and let you guys just fight it out among yourselves.
I have plenty to say on the subject.
But as I say, I would be happy to let you have that as a topic, and you guys can just kind of chew on that for 15, 20 minutes. Okay. No, Ron, you don't like that idea either, huh?
I say Balfangs are good for target practice.
Oh my, oh my, oh my, oh my.
Yeah, I second that
Anyway.
motion.
So anyway, that's I think anybody have anything else that is club business or club oriented? Because otherwise I'm going to I'm going to stop the recording of this, and then we'll chat just among ourselves about anything else we want to. Okay.
Okay.
Any club business questions, comments? No?
Motion to adjourn.
No, well, okay, hang on. Motion to adjourn, but don't leave yet, okay? So I'm gonna stop recording. I'm all in favor of adjourning, but don't leave. Good, okay, so that's done.